whistleblower, says the U.S. has non-human vehicles. And he adds, one UFO was recovered in Italy in 1933. A bell-like craft around 10 meters in size was recovered in Magenta, northern Italy. It was kept by Mussolini's government until 1944, when it was recovered by agents of the Office of Strategic Services, OSS, a former U.S. intelligence agency. And ironically, it predates anything the public has heard about for decades, such as Roswell, etc. Wait, there's more. In the depths of a cold Montana night in 1967, an extraordinary incident unfolded at Malmstrom Air Base. Amidst the secured walls of the military base, officials stood in awe as they witnessed an inexplicable sight. Hovering above the nuclear weapons were crafts, unlike anything known to human technology. These unidentified aerial phenomena displayed an intelligence beyond comprehension, seemingly tampering with our nation's defense. The silo doors containing the nuclear ICBM missiles started to shake, as if reacting to an invisible force. In a startling change of events, the missiles inexplicably stopped down, temporarily halting. This incident, witnessed by multiple Air Force veterans, left a lasting impact. The person narrating these stories is not a child or an LSD addict. He is whistleblower David Grusch, an Air Force veteran from Pittsburgh who worked in military intelligence and was part of the UAP task force. Moreover, David boldly stated that some of these unidentified flying objects actually had deceased pilots on board. The pictures and documents he has had the privilege of seeing are utterly fascinating, but there's a catch. They are highly classified. Grusch says that he's been told of secret government programs that have intact and partially intact vehicles of non-human origin. He says he's been told both the U.S. government and other nations have been engaged in a publicly unknown Cold War to try to reverse engineer technology from these craft. In recent years, the topic of UFOs has gained a surprising amount of mainstream legitimacy due to two institutions, the New York Times and Congress. According to Vox, key players in Congress, like Senators Marco Rubio and Kirsten Gillibrand, started to get UFO report and disclosure requirements into congressional government funding bills. The Pentagon publicly announced its Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force in 2020, and this is the office with which Grusch worked. Grusch holds a belief that sends shivers down the spine. He firmly believes that the U.S. government will go to extreme lengths, such as killing people, to safeguard these classified truths from public eyes. As he insists, white-collar crimes were definitely committed. When questioned about the possibility of people being killed to protect the secret, Grusch responded with a heavy heart, "Yeah, unfortunately, I've heard some really un-American things I don't want to repeat right now." Last month, even at NASA's public meeting on UFOs, NASA said they did set up a panel last year to progress its work on what it calls Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, UAP. Sean Kirkpatrick, director of AARO, said now we have 50 to 100-ish new reports each month, but possibly really anomalous are 2% to 5% of the total database, and that is also huge. And we all know when it comes to UFOs, there's a lot of fake shit that is flying around. Garrett Graff, who's writing a book on the government's UFO programs, told Vanity Fair that specifics, and evidence always seemed to be missing from these claims. Grusch admits he has no first-hand knowledge of any of these things, and hasn't seen anything with his own eyes. He's just been told things by others. But not to forget, David has submitted classified evidence to the Inspector General. One more very interesting thing to observe here is that the claims Bob Lazar and David Grusch have made are quite similar in nature. Both of them said that private defense contractors are involved when handling these UFOs. And the way they describe how these UFOs operate by banding gravity and time is totally similar. So Bob Lazar gets a little credibility because an Air Force officer is speaking along the same line, even if you set aside Bob Lazar. But when people like David Fravor, David Grusch, who were high-ranking Army and Air Force officials, talk along similar lines, it adds credibility and destigmatizes the topic. And NASA also believe that the topic must be destigmatized for scientific advancements, and we must be open-minded. Because still there is fear. The Navy pilots who in 2021 shared their experiences of encountering unexplained objects while conducting military flights said they and others had decided against reporting the encounters internally because of fears it could hinder their careers. On May 31st, a family in Las Vegas claimed that they saw aliens in their backyard, and these aliens were very tall, around 7 to 8, but there were no photos or video recordings. Interestingly, on the same night, a body cam of a police officer in the same area recorded footage of something crashing. 2023 will be a great year for UFO fanatics and even the scientific community, because we have incident after incident taking place, with a reasonable amount of credibility attached. To back up Grusch's claim, Jonathan Gray, a current U.S. intelligence official at the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, confirmed the existence of exotic materials, adding, "We are not alone." Right now, The Hill reports that senior members of Congress are demanding a hearing at the Capitol in order to begin a thorough investigation into these claims. The story of David was written by Ralph Blumenthal, who spent more than 45 years at the New York Times, and Leslie Kean, an investigative science journalist known for her writing on UFOs. The two are best known for authoring the explosive 2017 UFO report, in which the journalist revealed a secret Pentagon program, initially funded at the request of former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, to investigate unidentified flying objects. So why didn't big players, like the New York Times, the Washington Post, and Politico, publish this new seemingly bombshell report about UFOs? And a lot of people are using this to discredit David. But the simple answer is that the big publications were taking a lot of time to verify the background of Grusch. But his identity had already been leaked by multiple journalists online, so Ralph and Leslie were reluctant to publish sooner. Knowing about UFOs is not only important for scientific development, but also for the safety of hundreds of thousands of people who fly, and their safety is bane compromised. Just imagine the pain you will feel when a loved one dies in a plane crash caused by a UFO. UFOs should be made a household name, and the government is responsible for informing the public, as keeping us in the dark is a crime against humanity.